What is up, guys? It's your boy Torius, back again with another video. I said I'm back again with another video, and today I'm gonna be telling you 5 things that I wish I knew before I became a tattoo artist. So that being said, like the video, comment below what you think, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into it. All right, so the first thing is touching people, right? As a tattoo artist, you're gonna have to touch people, and as a piercer too, right? And one thing about me is that I didn't realize that I didn't like touching people, right? I didn't know that I was the type of person that doesn't like touching people. I became a tattoo artist and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna draw. But then I had to realize that I had to draw on people, and people move, right? And people have energy, right? But I'm gonna get to that later. You know, you gotta be real comfortable touching people. And a lot of times, you know, especially like when it comes to like women, you know, you can't just be touching women however you want, right? Like as a tattoo artist, you know, it might be enticing, like, oh look, all these pretty girls want tattoos and stuff, but you just can't be touching on pretty girls however you feel like it. You know, you have to ask permission, right? Like for me, anytime I'm tattooing a girl, even a guy, I always ask for permission, like, oh, do you mind if I put my arm here? Do you mind if I, you know, like I'm not gonna just like take someone's body parts and be like, you know. Some tattoo artists do that. Like they've done that to me. I've seen them do it to other people. But you know, you have to be comfortable touching people. Like I remember when I was starting piercing, you know, I thought, oh, I'm gonna start piercing, you know, make money and stuff. But then it's like, you know, you gotta touch people. You gotta be like, I'm not saying forceful, but you have to be like assertive in touching people. Like if you're gonna touch someone's face, you gotta make sure that you're able to do it with confidence. And when you first start piercing, you first start tattooing, it's gonna be like, you know, you're invading somebody's personal space, right? You're invading someone's space. So it's like, I'm the type of person that I respect other people's space because I like my space. So it's like when people come into my bubble, you know, you can feel like certain anxieties. You can feel certain like, you know, like, oh, you know, like you know, especially like when it comes to tattooing, because you're basically like torturing this person. Like it goes away, but you know, like before I started tattooing, I didn't really know how much it was gonna be touching people. And I remember my piercing teacher, my piercing mentor, he said to me like, oh, you're scared to touch people. You can't be scared to touch people in this industry, because this whole industry is all touching people, right? And a lot of times, sometimes as a dude, you know, you'll be tattooing other dudes and like their legs or like their body, you know, it feels kind of gay, right? I'm not gonna even cap. Sometimes tattooing feels kind of gay, because it's like, you know, you're touching another man. You feel me? And that's just something that's, you know, like that's something that I think, like, obviously, like, you know, you're making your bread, so I don't give a fuck. But you know, like there's some times when, like when you're piercing, like dudes be like, oh, can you like, oh, I want a dick tattoo, or oh, can you pierce my dick, or you know, it's kind of, you gotta have like enough skin for that. Like I read this book called The Piercing Bible, right? And the Piercing Bible, it says to stay away from like anyone charging exorbitant fees for, like exorbitant prices for piercings of the genitals, right? Because I remember when I first started pretty much every tattoo shop I worked at, they always say like a Jacob's ladder or like any of those, like to pierce a girl's like clitoris or her clitoral hood is like $150, right? Like they'll charge like $150 most of the time, or $100. But then for like a dude, they'll charge like $300, they're $350, right? And the thing is like the book said, you know, that's kind of perverted, right? If you think about it, because they are charging guys, it's kind of sexist in the sense that they're like charging guys more than they are charging girls, right? And that's, you know, it's kind of shady, basically. But yeah, you know, you got to touch people, and you know, you got to just be comfortable getting into other people's spaces. The fourth thing is, you know, tattoo artists can make a lot of money, right? But at the same time, it like while you are in, you know, like enthralled in tattooing, you realize, wait a minute, I don't have any clients, right? You might not get that many clients. And you realize that tattoos, because what they taught me was that tattoos are a luxury item, right? Like sometimes I would think about like, oh, you know, maybe I should do something else, because like it gets slow, especially like apparently, like, I don't believe it, but during like the winter time, like when it's like Christmas and all that stuff, it's like the slow season, and then like during tax season is like the fast season. I don't believe that, because I get clients year round, right? So it's like I get clients all the time. I don't have slow seasons. I don't have busy seasons. I just have clients, right? And they'll hit me up like, hey, how much is this, right? But the thing is like, you know, tattooing isn't like, you don't have, it's not like one of those salary jobs, like, oh, you know, you get paid by the work that you put in. It's like any other trade. Like, you put in the work and you get paid, and the better you are, the more you build your clientele, the better, right? So just know that tattoos are a luxury item. So it's like the same, like, to me, I feel like when I'm selling a tattoo, it's like I'm selling a yacht. It's like I'm selling I don't know, some like pillars for a house. It's like something that someone doesn't really need, right? It's like selling like art, like Fabergé eggs or something. Like, you don't need this, right? You don't need a tattoo. It's, some people are just bored and like, oh, you know, I have extra money. You know, it's not like a haircut where you need to get a haircut like every month, every week. And it's so funny because barbers always be like, yo, Nick, if I was a tattoo artist, bro, I would be, you know, I would rather tattoo than cut hair. Like, how? You make money all the time. You probably make more money than me, right? It's all about how much you put in. The next thing is all right. So the third thing that I wish that I knew before tattooing, I was never a very spiritual person, right? I was always very straightforward, scientific man, and I was always like, okay, whatever, the world is circle, okay, right? It's just like I was very scientific, but then I became spiritual, and becoming spiritual means that you believe in energies. And the thing is like how it goes into like my last, the fifth reason why I wish I knew. These aren't things that I don't like about tattooing. These are just things that I wish I knew about tattooing, right? And one thing that I wish I knew about tattooing was about energy in general. And it's like when you're tattooing, the whole reason my tattoos are called the art of healing, right? Because it's like it's like tattoos are a therapeutic kind of thing, in the sense that like a lot of times people get tattooed because they're like, they just went through something traumatic, like someone passed away, so they're getting their name tatted on them. Someone has like breast cancer, so they get the ribbon on them. Someone is like, you know, they're just like going through a hard time in their life. They're like, they can't stand like living at home or something, so they're like, oh, I need to get this pain out. So it's like, as a tattoo artist, you are the conduit of that pain, right? Like you're the conductor of the pain, right? It's like I've read that the pain that someone feels, like if you look at my bio on Instagram at the Art of Healing, I put pain is weakness leaving the body, right? It's like I absorb that pain, because a lot of times when I'm tattooing people, you know, I'll be able to like feel their energy, and I feel that like, and I feel like if I can, like a lot of times I'll be like tattooing my friends and stuff, and I feel like it brings us a lot closer, right? Because it's like I see their true selves. Like one time I was tattooing my boy, and while he's tattooing him, he like pushed my hand out the way, right? And I was like, bro, you know, you can't be doing, like, I could understand that it hurt and stuff, but it's like, you can't be doing that, because it's like, if I get poked, that's not gonna be a good day. Right? I'll never tattoo you again, and you know, we're not even gonna finish the tattoo because you're over here pushing me and stuff, you know? And it's like, the only reason I felt that way was because of the energy that he put into that, right? It's like I literally felt his energy, like his like he was being angry at me, right? And there's this other guy I tattooed, and you know, he was drinking and stuff, and it's like, while I'm tattooing him, it's like I feel his energy of he's being angry at me, and it's like, bro, you paid me to do this. You know? So I know it hurts, but then it's like they take their anger and they take these emotions and energies and they put it on me. And it's crazy because sometimes I'll read books on like therapeutic books, kind of, you know, like healing and all this stuff, and you know, it's like I'll tattoo someone, and it's like I literally live what I'm reading about through these people within the stories that they tell me. Because, you know, like most of the time, I'm not even cat, it's mostly damaged people that get a lot of tattoos. Like when you see people like tatted up a lot, it's because they went through a bunch of shit, and so they're getting tatted. And it's like, that's how you can identify all these pieces, people have gone through stuff. So like girls, like guys who have tattoos, it's like, oh, that guy's gone through stuff. Because it's like, it shows like damaged goods, you know, like a bad boy or a bad girl. Especially like when you have like crazy, like those blacked out eyes and stuff, you know. But yeah, Pretty much that is just energy, right? Like, you got to be careful about the energies that you surround yourself with, because you never know. Like, as a like, you might not believe in it. I don't care if you don't believe in it or not, but it's gonna happen regardless. Like, I've heard, like, as you know, like, most of the time in tattooing, you know, you tattoo a lot of spiritual stuff. You hang around a lot of spiritual people, right? And that stuff rubs off on you, and you become just a spiritual person. But yeah, you know, that's just one thing I wish I knew. The second thing I wish I knew as a tattoo artist, you can poke yourself, right? And that's not something to play around with, because, you know, honestly, I'm the type of person, I use condoms, right? I don't care who. Like, I was with my ex for like 5 years, and I use a condom every time. I don't care. Because I like to stay safe, and it's like, getting poked is the same thing as like not using a condom, but on, like, some random person, right? That's what they told me at I was at a piercing seminar, and like when I was getting my certification, and they told me like, oh, you know, like when you get poked like by a piercing, you're gonna get, it's like the same thing as having unprotected sex, right, with some random person that you don't know. So one thing that they did tell me at the seminar, I always say this, is like, they're like, it's not a matter of if you get poked, it's when you get poked, right? Because I've been poked like 7 times. Crazy. And it's crazy I don't have anything, right? Because all the times I'm like piercing people's noses and stuff, most of the time it happens when I pierce noses. I don't know why. But a lot of times I'll pierce people's noses and I'm like, oop, right through the glove, right? And then sometimes I'm tattooing, and then all of a sudden, and I'm like, right? And it's like, you know, working in tattoo shops, you always hear all the stories of people being like, yeah, I got poked. Most of the time, they don't care, right? A lot of times, they don't really care. But a lot of times, you know, it's dangerous. You can get HIV, right? That's for your whole entire life. You can get hepatitis. And they, you know, they don't really tell you about that. But, like, tattooing is kind of dangerous. You know, it's like, you could, like, kill somebody, right? Like, if a tattoo is really, like, infected, like, if you really get a tattoo infected, someone could die, you know? And it's like, even piercings, like these are things that I don't take lightly either. So it's like, you know, at the beginning, it's like, I never cared. It's so funny because my name is The Art of Healing, but I never cared about, you know, like, healing tattoos. Like, anytime someone asks me like, okay, what do I do to take care of it? I'm like, I don't know, because I've never taken care of my tattoos. But it's like, you know, it's not just about the art. Like, anytime your tattoo artist doesn't know about how to take care of it, you know, check that nigga, right? Check her. If she doesn't know how to take care of it, that's like it's like 20% the art and then 80% healing it, because, you know, this is your health. So yeah, it looks nice, but then I've seen some horror stories, you know, I've seen some bad stuff. A lot of times the tattoo comes off, you know, so it's like, it's important to just know how to heal it. So the health and safety, like, is so important. Like, at the tattoo shop I was working at, Alcoholic, they were telling me, like, at the beginning, they're like, oh, just treat everything like it has AIDS. Like, oh, there's HIV and everything. So I would take the Cavicide and I'll spray down everything. I'll clean everything with Cavicide. And I feel like that shit fucked me up, because I have, like, bro, like, after I have, like, this thing in my gums and it's like a bubble. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking that it came from the Cavicide, because I would spray that shit all the time, right? And the same thing, I would say this, whenever you see blood on the floor, wipe it first, pat it down, and then Cavicide it. Don't aerosol, don't use Lysol, aerosol, any sprays. Wipe it first, and then spray it with Cavicide after that, because then you're gonna just spray all that bacteria and all that stuff in the air, and then you're gonna breathe that in, and I got AIDS. Anyways, the last thing, number 5, what I wish I knew about tattooing was that tattooing is more sales than it is like art, right? Just like how it's more like medicine than art, it's more sales, because if you can't sell a tattoo, you're gonna not tattoo, right? So when, you know, like, whenever even doing free tattoos, like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, tattoos sell themselves, right? Like, tattoos are, even though to me they're a luxury item, they're highly in demand, right? They're very much in demand. Everyone, and it's an easy thing to sell, right? Like, I used to sell personal training, and you know, I would sell it in a gym where it's like easier to sell it. but I wasn't very good at sales at that time. But like tattooing, it's like I don't even know, but it's like, you know, I'm cold calling, I'm finding leads, I'm you know, trying to close, you know, I'm, you know, like there's a whole process when it comes to tattooing. I mean, to me, like honestly for guys, it's a lot easier to like sell to guys, because guys usually come to me because I don't really like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I usually mostly hit up girls because I'm like more motivated to hit up girls, because I'm not that motivated to hit up guys, like, because oh my god, bro, why am I buying this guy? I'm not that motivated to hit up guys just because I'm not, right? Like I'll see guys all the time. I don't really talk to guys. I mostly talk to girls, and I know it's like a problem for me, but it's like that's just how I am. But I mean, like, you know, guys just come to me, right? Like guys is just like, oh, you're a tattoo artist, bro. How much for this? How much for that? Like girls are a little more intimidated. Girls won't necessarily just come up to me and be like, hey, how much is this? I have to go to them. So it's like it's more comfortable for me to hit up girls. Guys, I don't really worry about. But it's sales, you know. Like when I'm talking to someone about a tattoo, right? A lot of times I don't really charge that much for a tattoo. Like I'll do like a whole sleeve for like 120, right? You might hate me, but that's whatever. I don't care. But the thing is, it's like someone will send me like, how much is this? And it's like a whole, like I remember it was just like, it's elephant, right? It's elephant mandala, and I was like, Before I asked, I tell them how much it's gonna be, because I was gonna charge 120, right? And I was thinking that's too much, because I'm in my head, I think everyone is broke. So I'm just like, oh, they're probably broke. I don't have a consideration of how much, but I just for how much would I want to spend, right? So I figure everyone's like broke and shit. And I asked them like, oh, how much is your budget? And they're like, oh, for that I'll probably spend like $250. Like it even happened with this girl I'm talking to right now, that she said she wants like this dragon, and I was like, I'll do it for $60, right? But before I do that, because she told me she was broke and she doesn't have any money, so I was like, fuck it. Like for me, like my set thing is like because as long as I make $60 in a day, you know, I'm kind of like satisfied. I'm just like, okay, like I don't really get that motivation to like make more, because I like to spend my free time on other stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, I made $60, whatever, I don't care. And then I just spend the rest of the day just like working on the things that I'm working on. So it's like she gave me like $60, I'll be all right. But the thing is, like I asked her how much would she pay for that. She's like 800, like 600 to 800. I'm like, oh, you have that, right? Like if you, because like sometimes you gotta, like, even though it's sales, you have to make them pay their price, right? Sometimes you gotta have them pay their own price. Like that's why it's good to like not even like it's like a negotiation thing, right? It's not like like Walmart or something, like, oh, this is $12. Like no, this is like there's people like this little M on my arm. Where is it? This little M from Majin Buu. Like I always tell people like, oh, at my own shop that would have been $80, because we had a minimum, so you got to spend at least $80 in order to get a tattoo. It doesn't matter what tattoo, as long as you spend $80, you can get what like that's the minimum. So if you want that little M, you have to spend $80. And that's the thing, is like, you know, some people wouldn't even think about it. Like, okay, it's like I used to work at Alcoholic, and they charge like $20 for that stuff, and I'm just like, dang, crazy. So for them to like actually pay that, it's like, wow, okay. But yeah, you have to. It's sales, right? It's sales. You have to market yourself. You have to put. Like there's this guy. He makes TikToks. His name is John Nelson, and he says that like he made a TikTok saying like, oh, how can we get more sales for this girl? And she just goes and posts like half naked pictures on her Instagram, and then she has like a whole bunch of clients, and it's so funny because it's like it's marketing, you know. But yeah, with that being said, those are the 5 things that I wish I knew as a tattoo artist before I started. With that being said, like the video, comment below what you think, subscribe if you're new. If you have any questions, just DM me on Instagram at Torius at 6 Feet Interviews. So I'll make a video talking about your question. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my Patreon and to donate to my charity, A Hand on the Mountain. Link is in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.